Alright guys, so in this video we're checking out the Diatone Taycan C25, and I know some of you guys have been kind of waiting for this for a while when you guys saw some of the pictures out there on Facebook and Instagram, and this is kind of a mashup between the Taycan and the Cinewhoop. So if you guys were looking for a bigger version of the Cinewhoop or a smaller version of the Taycan, I guess you can call this a Mega Cinewhoop or a Mini Taycan, so they gave it the name Taycan C25, which is basically because it has 2.5-inch props. It's kind of hoping that they would do a 2-inch version of the Cinewhoop. You know, like a 2-inch Cinewhoop would be pretty nice. Maybe we'll see that in the future. Who knows? But basically has the styling here of the Cinewhoop ducts here with the inverted motors, and you got the foam bumpers of the Taycan, and basically the inner frame of the Taycan as well, and they see the name of the Taycan there, and they have the Diatone etched in the carbon in the bottom here. Pretty solid build. I mean, all these guys are getting really good at putting some solid bind and flies together, and no doubt this is a result of all of the prior renditions and iterations of all the previous models coming together. These ducts here are pretty solid. You would have to crash really hard to break one of these. I crashed the Cinewhoop quite a bit and it didn't break any of these, but these are quite a bit bigger, and of course the ducts are going to be heavier in this case. Now in the case you do get some spare ducts as well, so let's take a quick look at what the duct looks like. And obviously they have a groove here for the foam as well. But this is very tough. I mean, at this weight, I just really don't see how this would break unless you really go into the ground at like full speed, maybe a fail-safe, something like that might do that. But yeah, it does come with a nice case, and you get some other accessories here. So standard stuff. This comes with the TX400 video transmitter, and it comes with a wiring diagram, and here are the specifications. You can control that via the OSD, of course, and this is the 25 amp all-in-one whoop style flight controller. This is their latest one. Actually, since I can't take the Taycan apart, this is what it looks like. Yeah, I haven't even put this into a build yet, but this is their latest revision of the Whoop flight controller. So you get a frame assembly guide. There's the diagram for the receiver connection, and just come with a extra pigtail here for different receivers. The receiver goes into the back here, and there's a little pigtail and another pigtail that goes into, or you solder onto the receiver itself. In this case, I'm putting an XM Plus on here, and they do include the antenna tubes as well. It goes into the TPU, and there's a little holder that's in this little TPU print on the underside that will hold the XM Plus in place. So it's a pretty nice design. And lastly, you get a buzzer, which I didn't install. You get an extra battery strap, and you get some extra spare screws in case you lose any. So the camera on here is the Caddx Baby Ratel, and it looks like they're using the nano to micro adapter. That's what it looks like here. So the spacing there is for micro size, and actually you can see the camera is quite a bit recessed back, so it's really very well protected, but these metal camera guards do show up in the video because the field of view is pretty wide on this camera. I think they designed this particular frame for the Vista system because there is a Vista version of this, which I don't think is out yet. It will probably come soon after the analog version. So you obviously put the DJI Vista camera here, and then the Vista will go in there in place of the video transmitter. You see the video transmitter sitting on top of the flight controller. There's a little adapter there that it's hard to see, but basically the 20 by 20 flight controller, or the 20 by 20 video transmitter sitting on top of the Whoop style flight controller via an adapter. Now the USB port here is on the side. As you can see, it comes out like this, not vertical. So you have to access it via this hole here. And it's not, you're not going to be able to see it, but you're going to You're going to need a very thin USB cable to get into there, and it wasn't included in the kit. So the foam will give. I mean, you can push it out of the way if you have a little bit bigger USB cable. So just be careful when you actually plug in that you're not putting too much pressure on the actual connector, because then the connector will break and then the flight controller will be dead at that point. So in the back here, you got a Foxhair Lollipop 3 antenna for the analog VTX, and then you have another print down here for the, if you're running the Crossfire receiver, you can install that down here. And if you don't have the Crossfire receiver, you can simply unscrew this and then remove this print here if you want to save a couple of grams. So mine here, I have a Beta FPV naked GoPro on here, and it's using this little, basically like a GoPro style mount, 3-prong mount here, and this is included in the kit. So you get the nut there and the screw, and then you need an Allen key that's included to put that, tighten that down. And then you have this other 2-prong adapter here that you could, if you want to use a different type of camera, you can maybe possibly attach it to that, maybe with some zip ties or VHP or something. So it's just kind of a universal here for that. But of course, you know, any GoPro mount will work with this. I actually put a Hero 8 on here. Throw a picture with a Hero 8 and 850 milliamp hour force battery. I think it was like 415 grams or something all up weight. Pretty heavy. And then the battery I flew with here is these new Kodar 4S850 90C batteries. These seem to be pretty decent. I'll have a separate video on this one later. I'm still sort of formulating my thoughts on all these. I got a whole bunch of these. So if you're looking for a video, let me know if you have any questions down below. All right, so this is how much it weighs with the GoPro Lite, the naked GoPro, but no battery. And we're coming in at 219 grams. And then we threw the 850 on here. We're definitely going over the 250 limit, and we're at 314 grams, 313.9 grams. So way over the 250 gram limit. And yeah, just in case you guys are wondering, this is how much it weighs without the battery and without the naked GoPro. It's 188 grams. So I totally forgot to mention, this has a new motor on here, and it's the Mamba Series 1404 5000 kV motor. I'll just throw up a photo of here what it looks like. As far as I can tell, it's pretty smooth, and you know, if you're familiar with any of the other Mamba motors that have been out, really no complaints about this motor. It's pretty solid. This also has a new prop here. This is the Gemfan D63 Prop. It's meant for the sort of ducted whoops, but you can see that it's got this sort of cut off edge there, sort of bullnose style, but it's not even that close to the edge of the duct, so you don't get any of the efficiency gains by putting a prop like this in this kind of a duct. It needs to be closer to the edge of the duct to get that sort of effect. So it really doesn't do anything. I think it just creates more noise. One thing they suggest is, if you want this to be less noisy, is to remove the foam ducts, and then that will be less noisy, and also it'll be faster too, and it will not be as affected by the wind. So if you have to fly, if you're flying outside, you got to fly it in calm conditions. If you try and fly it in windy conditions, you're not gonna have any fun. I flew this with the Hero 8 and the 4S850 in some pretty bad wind. I'll link that flight down in the description. That'll be a separate video. I'm not going to include that this one. I'm just going to include this if you guys are curious what it's like to fly in wind with this. And with pretty much any Cinewhoop, it's no fun. So if you're going to fly outside, you're going to pick a day that is going to be pretty calm. You can put a bigger battery on here, like instead of a 850, maybe go up to 1300. You can get way more flight time. It's going to be a little bit heavier, not as agile, and it will be a little bit more resistant to the wind, but also it'll be harder to control as well because you're pushing around a lot more weight. So just keep that in mind. But the battery range on this is pretty wide. The pitch tune on this, I think, is going to be good for this setup here with the naked GoPro and this battery. That's the flight you're going to see at the end of the video, and it seemed to fly pretty smooth. Of course, I am stabilizing the video with ReelSteadyGo. That's kind of the whole point of getting something like this with the GoPro, is to get nice smooth footage. And if you're going to do that and not get ReelSteadyGo, I really don't know why you're getting something like this. Yeah, the whole point is to get ReelSteadyGo and get a really nice stabilized footage. Of course, you could put like a Hero 8 on here and use Hypersmooth instead. That could possibly work, but of course, that's way heavier than using a naked GoPro, which I think is going to be better for this size. If you're going to go for a Hero 8, I would recommend getting the full-size Taycan, which is 3 inches. You're going to have a better experience than using the 2.5 inch here. Anyway, so I guess that's about it for the bench overview. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Here's the narrated flight, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Alright, so just wanted you guys to hear what this sounded like. It's pretty loud. And if you're indoors, which I think this was really meant for, it's going to be pretty loud. I don't know if it's any less quiet than the 3-inch Taycan. Similar sounding. But it's in this setup here with the naked GoPro, definitely feels a little bit more nimble and lighter feeling. Of course, this is way lighter. So it'll do a few tricks, but I wouldn't recommend trying to fly this like a 5-inch. Little bit of a breeze right now. It's not too bad, but this doesn't fly too good in windy conditions, so I'll link a flight that I flew this with the Hero 8 on top instead in some pretty bad wind, and you'll see the difference in terms of flight characteristics. It's totally different. Yeah, in this setup here I have a 4S850 and I'm running the naked GoPro on top, and this tune is pretty good for this weight, so not bad. Already at about 4 minutes of flight. 4.5 minutes, and about 14.3 volts, so the voltage is pretty stable. I'm going to go ahead and land it here though. Let me know what you guys think.